Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming Geretta Geretta, and that is not an accent, that is her name. She was the star of the 1985 Dario Argento, Lamberto Bava horror zombie classic, Demons. And I'm having her on the show today to talk about that movie as well as other movies she did, like Warrior of the Lost World, Smithereens, Buy and Sell, a couple others. And she's also a writer and director as well, and I want to ask her about that. And I think she writes plays as well, too, so I'm going to have her on the show to talk about all that stuff. So, here is my interview with Geretta Geretta. Hi, Geretta.
Hello there, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's a bit rainy day here in New Orleans.
Oh, you're out in New Orleans. That's such a beautiful town, that, from what I've been told.
Yes, it is. It's very pretty. It tends to be hot, and recently we had quite a bad storm, but we're all good now.
Nice. It's such an honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Well, thanks for asking. It's my pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure is your pleasure. So, going back in time, did you fall in love with acting early on?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think I did do a little community theater acting class when I was about 8 or 9. It was they needed some children to play in Emperor's New Clothes, but the opera in my little local town. And I do remember enjoying it, and I do remember thinking, why can't I be on stage more? And then I never really thought about it again. And then when I moved to New York, the bug got me then.
Nice. So you did community theater, and where are you from originally?
I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in Oregon.
Nice. My dad lives in Marysville, Washington.
Right. Where is that? Is that near the Tri-Cities, or it's a pretty big state? Where is that?
It's right over by Orcas Island.
No, I don't know that at all.
Oh, it's a nice little retirement area in Washington. It's right there on the border to Oregon, and it's a nice little retirement area.
So does that mean it's close to Vancouver?
No. It's like on the water.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Well, Vancouver, Washington.
Oh, Vancouver,
Oregon.
Washington. Yes, I thought you meant Canada.
Yeah, no. Vancouver, right there on the I-5. Most people speed right across the two states, but under the I-5, it's actually right there on a sliver of the Columbia, and there are 3 islands there in a row. So I was wondering if your dad was on one of those.
I think he's over by there. Yes.
Oh well, I hope he likes it.
Yeah, he's been there 6 years. I've only been able to visit once, but hopefully I'm going to visit again this fall, hopefully.
Well, that's nice. Are you in school or something?
No, I'm 36. I live here in Redding, California, and I do this podcast, and I'm recovering from an accident, and I'm looking for some acting gigs and stuff.
So let's interview you. So did the acting bug bite you?
I started as early as age 3, just entertaining my family. I would dress up as my favorite movie stars and entertain them. And I also do stand-up comedy for 13 years, and I used to imitate my favorite comedians and stuff. And so it started early on for me.
Fun.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of material? Do you have like your 5 minutes or whatever it is?
Oh yeah, I'm a one-liner comedian. I'm not one of those guys that you see today doing the alternative self-expression comedy. I just want to make the audience laugh, you know.
So you're kind of like more of the old school guys, like a Rodney Dangerfield or these guys. They just have one funny line after another. How many do you think it takes to build your whole show? I mean, how many one-liners do you need?
Oof, you know what? I haven't counted it because I've just been, an open micer the last 13 years, and I've done as little as 5 minutes and as much as 15. I just
do you tell one line? Do you tend to do one a minute or like one every half minute?
Yeah, one like maybe every 30 seconds, depending on what the setup and the punchline is. And occasionally I'll go into a bit, or I'll do like some celebrity impressions that I do.
So 2 a minute. There you go. So for 15 minutes, 15-minute show, you need to be good and ready with at least almost 61 liners, right? Is that about right? 60 or 30, I think it is. That's impressive.
Yeah, you know who Stephen Wright is.
Yes, I remember Stephen Wright.
Well, when he did his first HBO special in 1985, he had 250 one-liners, and I cannot believe that, because you have to have a really good brain to like memorize all those.
Well, wouldn't you say Stephen Wright definitely did have a really good brain? I mean, that was part of his humor. He was incredibly intelligent, and he had the one-liner that made you think twice. So I would say that was probably a pretty good brain that could do that.
Oh yes. He's very modest too. If you tell him that that he's very smart, he's like, I'm not as smart as you think I am. I just got lucky with my material.
I hear you. So you got into horror. How did you get into horror?
I've been a horror fan my entire life. I wanted to, after I got back from my car accident in 2015, I decided I was going to pursue stand-up, and then I got bored with doing just stand-up, and then I went to a couple conventions, and I realized that at these conventions I knew a lot more than I thought I had. There was a lot of stuff I had forgotten about, and I was like, you know what, I should go back to writing horror screenplays, because that's what I did right out of high school. I did that for a while. So I decided I was going to do that, and I was going to pursue acting and do all these different things. And then the podcast happened, and I've been developing, a little cult following from this podcast.
Well, that's great. What cons did you go to? For people who don't necessarily always know what that means. So which horror convention did you go to that got you submitted?
Well, first I went to a Comic-Con that had just started in the Bay Area, where I'm originally from, called Silicon Valley Comic-Con. They're doing their fourth one this year. And then the HorrorCon that I go to every year in LA is Monsterpalooza.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
What do you do when you're there? What do you do? Do you go to the vendors and look for merch, or do you do your podcast there, or do you get to just enjoy it like a horror fan? Do you just get to go and meet people and see new things? How do you enjoy your con time, your festival time?
Well, yeah, I mean, I go see if I've interviewed people, and they're booked, I go see them and talk to them and stuff. I get autograph selfie. I go talk to, people at the merch stands and stuff like that. And
do you have any favorite people that you've met, or people you were really looking forward to meeting and you finally got to meet them?
Oh, my God, so many. I've been very blessed with the ones, especially
Tell us.
The ones that I've interviewed. Oh, my God. Dee Wallace.
Yeah, she's great.
I love her, yeah. Oh, God. Who else? I have to look at my poster wall to remember everybody, because I've met so many people. Linnea Quigley.
Sure.
She interviewed me for her documentary, which I hope will be coming out soon.
Yeah, I remember her first getting started on that. How cool. So when she interviewed you, what did she interview you about?
Oh, so the documentary is about movie extras, and so I've been an extra on a few things. So I just told her my experiences, and we did it through some humor. So we did some pre-planned humor stuff, because I was basically making fun of the type of crazy people that are extras on movies, and I've seen plenty of those on the stuff that I've been extras on.
Yeah, I always ask people how they got into movies. Is that how you started? Were you an extra first?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm curious how people people get into the industry. Is that how you started? Were you an extra first?
Well, yeah, I mean, the first thing I was ever an extra in, it was an accident. I was at a bowling alley in the Bay Area, and they were shooting a pilot for some show that ended up never getting picked up. I can't tell you the name of it or who directed it. Everything was secretive. But they asked me, if I would be in this one scene during a karaoke sequence, and they asked me if I would sing the Meatloaf song, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. And my friend who was hosting the karaoke show, she actually had recommended me to the producer because I was celebrating the anniversary of when I came out of the closet. And
I see.
yeah, so I got to do that, and I was like, wow, I should start looking up more stuff to be extras in. So I got to do some shows after that.
Did you do some that we could look for you in? Do you remember any names?
Nothing that you could see me immediately in, but I was an extra on the pilot for Silicon Valley because that was shot in Palo Alto.
Sure.
Hugh Laurie did a series for Hulu. I don't know if it's still on. It's called Chance. I was an extra in a restaurant in one of the first episodes of that just before I moved out of the Bay Area. And I was a background football player on the show Ballers with The Rock.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that still on? I watched a few episodes. I enjoyed it.
I don't know if that show... Yeah, I don't know if that show is still on. I don't watch TV as often as I used to, but I imagine it is. I'll check it out if it is, though.
Oh, wow. Have you ever been an extra in a horror movie?
Not in a horror movie, no. I auditioned for one recently. Deborah Voorhees is making a movie called 13 Fanboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I...
got a nice GoFundMe up. People should look for that and help her out. Yeah.
Oh, yes, I donated to that movie, and my name will be in the credits, so at least I got that going for me. But I auditioned for it, and my audition tape is on YouTube. I put it on YouTube. It's really funny. And, yeah, I didn't get that, but I'm trying to get into horror movies.
Oh, that's fun. Well, I know you mentioned that you had an accident, so I don't know if you're mobile, but do you take acting classes at all, or?
Oh, yeah. I've taken a couple up here, and I took some in the Bay Area and stuff for years. I do all that stuff.
Well, that sounds fun. I can imagine, but I don't know. Is there a lot of filming, particularly horror, since you're interested in horror, in your area?
No, I just joined this group called Shasta Film, which was a company that shoots films and stuff up here, and they have a meet and greet in September. I'm going to go to it so I can network and meet some people and stuff. And yeah, there's not a whole lot here. But, I just moved up here to help my mom pay the rent and stuff, but I do plan on making a move to Los Angeles in the future.
Well, you know what they say, do as much as you can where you are locally and get a lot of experience. I mean, LA's a pretty big town.
I know.
A lot of East Coast space.
I know, but we'll see.
Get some credits under your belts where you are, it's probably easier.
Right. I'll see what happens, though.
Not that I'm discouraging anyone. I mean, everyone has to follow their dreams. But, once you're in LA, you're an LA actor. There's something to be said about a talent no one's heard from another town. And maybe you'll be lucky and you'll be in some small horror film or something else or get a national commercial where you are. And then come to town with that, especially if your mom needs your help right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But so you studied acting in New York.
Yes, I did.
So did you study with anybody who was a famous acting teacher?
Yeah, I did, but all that stuff's in my bio. Yeah, I did. I went to a good acting school, and basically, like you said, I started out in was doing extras and sort of worked my way up. It took a little while. I did a lot of theater, off comedy troupe for a while. I mean, most people are pretty familiar with my history of how I got there, so it was great fun. But you kind of get the work that's going to come your way. So I certainly didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to do horror films." It just sort of worked out that way. It isn't the only work I did, and it wasn't the work I did in the beginning. Like you said, you really haven't done a lot of horror, but you tried these other things.
Right.
I'm curious, is there ever a possibility to do horror in your stand-up? Because, it's such a huge, it's a huge market, and almost everyone's saying a horror movie or two. Do you use it in your comedy at all?
Oh yeah, I do this bit where
Really?
I take famous horror villains and I put them in these awkward sexual situations.
Does it get a lot of laughs, or do people get squeamish? Do they feel like, that kind of thing where it's funny, but they feel a little embarrassed, so they don't laugh as much?
It's funny. I rarely ever do it, and when I do it, there's only a few people who get it because there's only a few horror fans that are also comedy fans in the audience.
Yeah. I hear you. Sure. So, are there particular characters? Are there any famous characters that you did use in that thing? Like, would it be someone from the main movies? Do you make fun of them?
Oh yeah, I talked about Freddy. I said, do you think Freddy Krueger ever really did walk into a wet dream? And then I do an enactment of Freddy. Oh God, how do I do it? I'm trying to remember. I haven't done it in a while.
So don't worry about it. I just meant in general. I think I was trying to figure out if you do more, jokes on classic horror like vampires, Frankenstein, monsters, or if you actually name names of characters now, or if you go, more, obscure films. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
No, I don't do the Frankenstein No, not the Frankenstein and Dracula. Just like Freddy, Jason, Pinhead, that kind of horror.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I bet there's some really good things you can come up with about Pinhead.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you about the movies you've done. According to IMDb, your first movie that you got a role in was Rollover.
Yeah.
That's a Alan Pakula movie.
Yeah.
Were you an extra in that?
Yes, I was. And let's see, I think that was Kristofferson and Jane Fonda.
Right. How was that experience?
It was great fun. I was new in the industry and got to be on a very large, extensive Hollywood set. I was in scenes. I was in a big ballroom scene, and I worked very close to most of them. So I got to see them and, see them younger than they are now, and it was very exciting. It was a very exciting first way to sort of get into the industry. I enjoyed it, and I still remember it.
And did you interact with Jane Fonda or Kris Kristofferson?
No, as a good extra, you should not try to do that. If you're an actress and you have a written part, you wouldn't be an extra. So when you're an extra, you should be an extra and not interact with anyone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have talked to some people who were extras and they got to talk to the stars and stuff, so that's why I was curious.
People don't really like it, so there's your tip. Do your job, let them do their job. Because think about it, if everybody even only takes 1 second to talk to someone who's got the weight of a movie on them, they're going to be polite and nice, but really, people are there and trying to concentrate on what they need to do.
Mm-hmm. And then you played a
being an extra to meet stars, that's really not the right way to do it.
Oh, no, I'd never want to do that. I just want to get experience under my belt, Yeah. You played a prostitute in Smithereens.
Mm-hmm. I played a lot of different girls that were working in various films. If you're going down the IMDb list, you'll probably see that there's more than one character in that line of work.
Yeah, I think Susan Seidelman is a pioneer, and I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves.
Really, I think lots of people really do like her work. I don't know what she's doing right now, but people certainly know of her work. So yeah, I was in the movie Smithereens, which was a very big hit, and then her second movie was Desperately Seeking Susan, which most people credit with discovering Madonna. Not discovering her; she was already well known, but it certainly popped her into the movie industry.
Right.
And then, as you well know, she directed many episodes from Sex and the City. So I think she's well known. Is she a name for everybody? Maybe not, but she's great, and I certainly enjoyed working with her. And I think that's my first speaking role, so I got no complaints.
Yeah, she's certainly respected amongst the New York film crowd. I do have to say that, but I mean she came up at a time when women were starting to direct mainstream movies like Amy Heckerling and Martha Coolidge and stuff like that, and she's definitely a gem.
Definitely. But there were always women directors, but just not many, and there aren't many now. With Ida Lupino, I can't even think of her name right now, Lena Wertmuller, and there've always been women. There've always been women directors, but we certainly need more. The more the merrier.
Yes, I think so too. You did a very bizarre yet really cool low-budget film called Warrior of the Lost World.
It wasn't that low budget. It was pretty standard budget for Italy. It wasn't I think low budget means something different in America, but it was a pretty standard budgeted movie. I mean, it had Kris. She's passed away now, but she was the first Indian from India, Vulcan in the Star Trek series. It had Donald Pleasance, Fred Williamson, Robert Ginty. So in its day, it wasn't super low budget at all. You might say maybe you don't care for it much.
No, I like it, actually.
It was great fun. It was an American director, but it was shot in Italy, which was quite the norm at the time.
Yeah, were you living in Italy during that time?
Yes, I lived in Italy for a very long time.
Yeah. And Robert Ginty, a lot of people don't realize, too, he was a classically trained Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, there was a television series. I never saw it because I was in Italy, but I think he got his break on Baba Black Sheep.
Yes.
That was with Robert Conran, the very handsome fellow that used to be on the Wild Wild West.
Yes.
And then he did China Blue. Was that the name of it? China Blue or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Role for Ricky Lake, who played a nurse on that. And then this movie actually was to be, I think, a breakout role for him. That was the talk at the time. Doing feature films, and so I think everybody wished the best for the film. I don't think it did that well, but he certainly did a nice role, and he and I have some great scenes together. He's passed away, but he and I have some great scenes together that I really enjoyed, and I'm still friends with Fred Williamson, so I got no complaints.
Yeah, I've met Fred. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And then comes the immortal classic Demons. And I gotta tell you, this movie got me through a very dark and painful period when I was 19.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes.
But I'm happy it got you through a dark period.
Yes, it surely did. I lived across the street from a video store that had it. They still had VHSs back then. And I was watching lots of zombie movies during that period, and I loved this one. It reminded me of Dawn of the Dead, but in a movie theater.
I can understand why. Sure.
Yeah, this is Dario Argento. But how did you get cast as Rosemary?
I don't know why it reminds people of Dawn of the Dead, because it's completely different, and they're not zombies. But I have heard that reference before. But he and Romero and all those guys, they were all friends. They all know each other. But
yeah,
I understand it just absolutely.
Yeah, well, they're like Italian zombies, but they're demons.
Which is not like an Italian zombie. There isn't a such thing as an Italian zombie. A demon's a demon and a zombie's a zombie. I got to draw the line there. Sorry.
Okay.
Know your lore.
Did you audition for the role, or were you offered it?
The process in Italy is not like an American audition, so especially in that genre. I mean, things have changed now, but it's sort of a combination. They already know they like your work, and then you meet for an interview. You don't do sides or read for something or act something out. They kind of, directors and producers, they do their homework, and then they call agents of people they'd like to see. And then I think it's sort of a combination of seeing who goes well, and it's sort of based already on what you already can do, because the feeling pretty much is you're not a director, you're an actor. So, what's the chances of you directing yourself well in a 3-minute audition in an office with someone just talking to you who is an assistant of some sort? Not that there's anything wrong with being an assistant, but you're not playing against another actor. So they do it differently. And by the time I did Demons, I had done quite a few other films, so people knew what I was up to, and I was on a television series at the time. So I wouldn't say they requested me, but they certainly were aware of me, and I met them, and it was great, and it was nice. And I had already worked with Michele Soave in one of my very, very first films in Italy. So, it was like, once you're in the scene, you're sort of in the scene, I guess is the best way I could put it.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it take to apply the makeup on you?
The makeup, everybody knows this stuff.
I don't know it.
The makeup every day was about 9 hours altogether. So on movie set is about a 12-hour day, sometimes 15, but that's rare in Italy. It don't really work like that. People like to go home and be with their families. So to do the makeup, and they did it fresh every time. The only thing they kept was my costume. It was unfortunately never washed, but it would be so many hours for my hair, my face, and nothing is CGI. So all the veins, all the bumps, all the hands, all the nails were done every single day, and then I would probably be in front of the camera about 15 minutes.
Nice. They did a really good job of making you scary, but yet also sexy at the same time.
Yeah, which is an odd thing, because I certainly don't think of that, but yes, that does come up. So I don't, I do a lot of festivals and conventions, and I do them around the world, and I'm very happy and pleased with my small space in horror lore and horror history. But I think it just has something to do with the fashion of the day. It was, back then we all wore spandex, so who knows? Maybe it's just that there were no other monsters in red spandex pants. Is that it? I mean, I would certainly like to think I brought something of my own to the character, but that was not the intention, or, it's just not like that. No one was saying, okay, kill those people, but kill them sexually. It just wasn't like that. I think we're just young, and it was time. The fashion was big hair, tight clothes, and I just think that the casting was brilliant, and we're all young. The age of the entire cast is, except for the two older men characters, the blonde guy and the mean husband, and his wife, of course. But I think that the median age of the leads is between 13, and I think the oldest actor was 26.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all young, knew about Helen, and doing our best. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I think Demons is like, we've got one more minute before I have to go. So I think Demons is a good place. Most people have seen it. And I'm touring around in the United States, and then I leave for Germany. I'm doing a show in Germany in October, and I spend most of my year in Japan. So I really appreciate you calling me, because it would be extremely rare to find me in the United States, and I have to be in New Orleans right after almost a hurricane. So it's been so great talking to you, and I'm glad you like horror. I hope things work out for you better and better, and kudos for being a good son and helping your mom, and I hope whatever health issues you have, they heal or change as soon as possible.
Geretta, thank you so much. That is so sweet of you to say. Also, I just wanted to let you know, I thought you were hilarious in Buy and Sell.
Oh, thank you. You do know the rare ones. You do know the oddities. So, yeah, Buy and Sell was a lot of fun. And for people who don't know, that was a Frank Vaughn's film. And you're a comedian, so you would know. What's his name? Michael Winslow, right? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Michael Winslow.
Winslow, thank you. I said it wrong. The comedian that did all those voices, I played his girlfriend. So very good. I'm very proud that you made that reference. And if anybody wants to stay in contact with me or find out my touring schedule, I am on Facebook, if anybody's still on Facebook, as Geretta Rosemary Geretta. I'm on Instagram as Geretta Geretta. And I have a website and a store that I'm going to add more to, everyone, but it's www.GerettaGerettaShop.com. So just say hi to me and send me a message. And stay gory.
I sure will. Have a great day, Geretta.
You too. Thank you. Arrivederci. Ciao.
Arrivederci. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Geretta Geretta. Ain't she a sweetheart? She's a very interesting lady. That's all I can say. She is very interesting and unique. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.